If they fly, you die. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Uh, you don't seem very safe if they're on the ground, also.
No.
It's
um,
false information in this tagline.
all I really remember about this movie was at some point one of the birds was holding a gun. So
What? I don't. I don't think so.
I think it was on. I
Gunbird
think it's like
horror.
it may have been like on the ground. I'll see if I can find a picture
Uh,
of it.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Gunbird horror.
Yeah, flew
I'd
birds
watch
with
that.
guns.
Subatomic
Wait, never
bird
mind. It was a person
commandos.
that I thought was a dead bird.
Checks out. Checks out.
I mean, I'll send you the picture when you see it. Like, with it's not like blown up. If like
Well,
if you just like scoot by it, it basically just looks like the wings of the bird holding a gun.
to be
Disappointed.
fair,
Um,
there's one point where there's like a person wearing a rubber bird suit, and they could have definitely gone that way.
I'm not gonna lie. I remember almost nothing from this movie other than like the birds looking insane.
Oh, you're talking about that guy they found that was just like half a guy,
Yeah,
and
probably.
his jacket's open. Yeah, he does kind of look
Like
like
I
a
think I
bird.
looked up and I saw that it was just like, oh, I missed a bird with a gun. I'm also
What
not
if
No,
it
you
going
was a
back to
didn't.
gun
figure
with a
out.
bird?
Unfortunately.
Ooh, there we go.
A gun holding a bird, cradling it,
That's the kind of
and
movie
it's
I'm
barrel.
looking for.
Hush, my child.
This is episode 164 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
I'm Katie.
This week we are talking about. I forgot to look up a year. I'm gonna say 2008's. Oh, I was right. Flu-bird horror, or flu-birds,
Blue
depending
bird.
on
Blue bird. Blue
what
bird.
you're looking for. Because like I had to make sure I had to like triple check that I was watching the right movie when I found it on Tubi. Because
Yeah, thankfully, you already shared that one like image of that quote unquote flu bird on the roof. So when we got to that, I was like, okay, I'm watching the right thing, but I wasn't sure for a large part of it.
Shortening the title to just Flu Birds was a cowardly move.
yeah,
When it aired on TV, it was Flu Bird horror.
I assume this was a Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is how it was made, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's had the very mid 2000s fluber or sci-fi aesthetic going on, and like essentially plot of all of their movies with a bunch of shitty people trapped by some kind of weird creature.
Um, I'm so
I'm
glad
really-
the Flu Birds have made it onto the Movie Monster wiki page.
Yeah, they deserve it, even though they're just pterodactyls.
They're definitely not birds of any sort. This is like one of the only instances where the cover lied reverse, where like usually we think we're getting a creature and we don't, but this time we thought we were just getting birds and they're creatures, so that was interesting. I'm really concerned about the trivia that says the first idea for this movie dates back to 2000. It originally
Burt
had
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds wanted as an actor. It was meant to be theatrical. Well, it went the opposite way, it seems.
I
Hear me out on this also. Bird Reynolds.
yeah, I'm in.
God, they really missed out there.
I just
They really did.
like that they wanted to have it so like when you got whatever the virus was, it like transformed you, and they were just like, yeah, we can't afford to do that with
We'll
the
just kill
graphics.
everyone
So
instead.
Just make you real splotchy.
basically, it's just the
Blotch it
flu
up.
and these weird birds.
Yeah, I was really expecting that to go somewhere more, but shocker, it didn't.
It went exactly where $800 total would take it.
Oh boy, what sci-fi just peak cinema.
But I'm just so stoked they got Lance Guest, aka Martin Brody's son from Jaws: The Revenge.
I mean, all of these movies have like at least one quote unquote celebrity.
He's legitimately the only person in this film that could actually act and like seemed like he knew what he was doing.
I disagree.
Yeah, you had
Katie
Porky.
is standing hip hop.
oh
Hip hop
god,
is her actor of choice.
Oh, you know it. You know I am.
I hated everybody. Every one of these 40-year-old teenagers, except Claire Carey, who was in Home Alone 4
Oh my
and
god.
Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles,
She was the crocodile, huh?
and also Waxwork and
Yeah.
Uninvited somehow,
Okay, girl.
and Zombie High. Yeah, this movie's pretty bad, except anytime the birds are around, the pterodactyls look incredible. Like
I
physical or CGI, I was on board with both.
The CGI ones looked very strange to me, but I liked anytime there was a guy wearing a rubber suit. It was pretty cool. It was like very clearly a human also.
Yeah.
It was a little off-putting.
It's a great design because like they somehow gave the bird a skullet. So it's like bald on top and then with very long feathers in the back.
I just need to point it out that I think this is the first time I've ever come across a movie on Letterboxd where there's not a single 5-star review or 5-star rating.
That's unbelievable.
no.
I'm changing that.
It's only got 18 or 161 people have watched it, but I mean it's only 33 half-star reviews, and that's still the most.
I have to be totally honest. Like, this movie was not good by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't like a struggle to get through for me because there was enough like goofiness and like people couldn't figure out their accents and the voiceover was so strange and the like script was written so weird that I was just like, okay, this is fine. It wasn't like, you know what I mean?
It was like
Yeah.
mid-tier Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Yeah.
It
a perfect time
definitely
waster.
100% felt like a sci-fi movie, which I feel like maybe that's why it just was kind of like whatever to me. I knew what I was getting into.
Give me 1,000 more flu birds over any Sharktopus or Sharknado.
I'll agree with
Yeah.
Sharknado. Sharktopus I haven't seen yet, but I say it was perfect.
Oh, original Sharktopus rules, but
Yeah.
then it turned into like Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. There's like Terraconda.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Don't
If
be
they
don't be
fly,
hating on
you
the
die.
whale wolf.
Yeah.
Oh God, that movie's unwatchable. It tries to be a comedy film. It's not
Yeah,
good
you
or
gotta take
funny.
this shit seriously.
Yeah.
This movie's only work if the characters think it's real.
Hip hop bibbity bop.
I don't know. All right, we're done.
90 Day Fiance all over again over here.
Yeah, Scootily poop or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, Scroodly poop. My favorite thing about Letterboxd, by the way, is that I always have this like popular with friends, and then it's like
Whatever
like
me and
actual
Kid have
movies
watched.
people are. Well, it's like normally real movies that people are watching. Like mine right now is Critters, Werewolves Within, Sleepy Hollow, The Guilty, and then it's like Flu Birds.
It's
Because
always
both of
Right.
you like whatever.
Are you saying this isn't a real movie? How dare you? This aired on the Sci-Fi Channel
Shocking-
at the peak of its
shocking
powers.
news.
this is more of a movie than Casper is, and Casper's on my popular with friends.
How dare you? Casper is
Wendy
a
should have
5-star
danced with the
film.
flu bird.
Yeah, They should
Yeah.
just add one of these birds into just one shot of every movie from now on.
Also, there was
Hiding
only
in the
like
back.
5 or 6 bluebirds. I
Just-
think
Picturing like the opening to Maximum Overdrive, where it's just a bunch of people on the street, but just a flue bird just goes strolling by.
with a necktie on his way to work.
Yeah, getting yelled at by Stephen King.
Yeah. Well, here we are instead.
So yeah, this was fine. I just don't remember much of it because it was just like my memory of it is some birds looking cool at some points, and then just a group of unlikable people yelling at each other for the rest of it.
Trying to sacrifice each other all the time.
And then like two
Like,
cops with the
constantly.
most wild accents I've ever heard.
What the other, so like the main FBI guy, I don't know what was going on with him, but the real wonder was like, I think they call him, I was calling him Soldier, they think they call him Bird Pilot 1 maybe, I don't know what was going on with him.
He's he made a choice and he stuck with it. Respect.
He sure did. All right, let's get this over with. I also want to point out, I already said it, but the voiceover audio in this is like so bad. Like, it's really bad. Anyways, we start out with some quote unquote moody orchestral music and also mountains. There's 2 hunters who are hunting as an excuse to get away from their quote unquote dumb wives.
I just heard 2 hunters, but to the tune of 2 princes by Spin Doctors. I just want to put that out into the world.
I need you to rewrite that song as just like the plot of Bluebird.
If you want to be my flue bird, go ahead now.
Go ahead. I love that. So, you know, maybe the scatting could turn in like to cawing at the end.
Someone musically talented make this happen.
Yeah, Jeremy, help us here. So, okay, we also to point out that there's no actual cawing in this movie. They
Fucked up.
literally, as we already said, look like pterodactyls, and they sound not what I imagined to be pterodactyls, but like creatures that look like pterodactyls. They're not like they're
So-
like guttural roars.
I have a theory.
If flue was a bird, that's what it looks like.
I have a theory that all of this movie happened because Pee Wee Herman was living with a pterodactyl for years, that eventually got tired of his screaming word of the day bullshit and just bit him and turned him into a pterodactyl. And then it
It
just
could be,
spiraled out of hand from there.
It is also postulated at one point in this movie that perhaps there was a bird-person relation. So that's also possible.
I
A
wouldn't.
person was born.
He was like,
I don't-
I'll give you a word of the day, Pee-wee. Anyway,
Unless I refuse to acknowledge that unless they add a scene where that happens in the movie.
why? Sci-fi. Why?
Yeah.
Why didn't we?
Burt Reynolds could have fucked a bird in this. This would have
Yeah.
this would have been the most talked about movie ever made.
Just walking in and trying to seduce like a very large crow
We could have
sitting
had-
on a like mantle.
You know what they could have done is they could have got Norm Macdonald to come in as Burt Reynolds.
Oh my god. They could have. They messed up.
Yeah,
Bird Ferguson.
he would have been much cheaper.
He might have done it for free if they told him what was going on.
Yeah, I'll do this movie for free as Burt Reynolds if they want it.
Call it birdie work.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. So, the hunters hear
Burt
two
Reynolds.
hear guttural roars, like roaring.
Yeah, like
And one of
birds
the
do.
guys, yeah, like that, not like, which I
Um,
assume is a pterodactyl.
Real quick, the one of the writers of this, I now have a 100% on Letterboxd because the only other movie they wrote was Beneath that we did on the podcast.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
That's so funny.
Writing aside,
Actually, both of the
this
writers.
probably could go in news, but while I'm thinking about it, it's very funny. They're making a Gamergate movie that's co-written by the dude who wrote the movie Camel Spiders.
Oof.
Beautiful.
That's-
Great choice.
What the
Can't wait to
Why
see
are we
it.
now doing a Gamergate movie? Like,
Why can you only get the dude who wrote Camel Spiders?
maybe like Ian Miles Chong will be a camel spider in it.
Also, can we do the movie Camel Spiders?
After
I
Top
guess we
Gun.
have to.
We have to do Homeward first, or whatever that movie was.
I refuse to watch that. That looks like hot garbage. What were they? Anyway,
It's gonna be so good. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'll report back.
okay. Please
I've never
do.
Good
seen.
luck.
I haven't seen the original one. So
I mean, it doesn't appear to be any relation except that they're trying to spoof it. So
I did.
we'll see.
I saved a list on Letterboxd if somebody has Asylum's complete filmography in the order
Oh
they
my
came
God.
out. So
Yeah.
I'm jumping in. I can't wait to get
Oh
to
my
MILF.
Man, I love to fight.
Or oh my god, I didn't realize they did so many like shitty teen comedies. Like MILF and Barely Legal and Bikini Spring Break. Celebrity
Oh, no.
Sex Tape.
I feel like I've heard of all of these.
They're probably things we've passed on Tubi because it looked like most of their movies are on Tubi and Hoopla. So, oh god, they got kids movies too. This is gonna be.
Oh my god.
What am I doing with my life?
Well, I assume that other one's a kids movie.
What, MILF?
Yeah. Okay.
I just need you to know
So-
there is a Dr. Death ripoff they did.
Oh my god.
Literally called Dr. Death, but spelled out instead of the DR.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing what they can get away with. The rules.
That's the
Can't wait to
best.
watch Planet Dune.
Oh man, I according to their website, it's supposed to be out already, but I have no idea where you watch it. So, but
You have to go to Planet Dune.
We're doing that movie the minute it hits a streaming
We're
site.
doing it.
We're dooning it.
All right, go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, sorry, I got us off track.
Well, now I'm trying to see Planet Dune where you watch it.
I think they just did like a premiere theater screening or some shit. So it'll probably be on Tubi very soon. Oh my god, there's
Yeah.
more than one Fast and Fierce movie.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
they've got a spoof one for every Fast and Furious.
God, I'm in.
that's right. It might be. Oh, never mind. This is real Dune.
Yeah, it's hard to look because like everything that comes up is just actual Dune.
I was like, well, I should have known at first because it says where to watch on HBO Max, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. Okay. Anyways, so we are not even a minute into this movie. There's guttural roaring, and one of the hunters, of course, as you do, thinks that it's just a barn owl.
I laughed so hard. But yeah,
I'm-
obviously a barn owl going rah.
I'm assuming that these guys aren't actually hunters and don't know anything about animals. But anyways, basically, immediately a huge pterodactyl-looking thing swoops down and attacks one of the hunters and like immediately kills them. And then it appears that the other hunter gets punched by the pterodactyl, and so, you know.
Gotta be punching
Like
everybody.
it looks like he just like punched it with his little claw. So then we immediately switch to a guy who we find out is named Porky, and he is walking through the woods blindfolded. I was really baffled by this entire situation, but basically what's happening is that there is a group of quote unquote, what did he call them? Something criminals. It's just basically a group of kids. They're supposed to be teenagers that are like old enough to still be in juvie. These people are obviously way older than teenagers, but here we are. And they have this camp counselor guy or parole guy. I don't really know what he is, but he's supposed to be like, making honest people out of them, I guess. And so Porky is blindfolded because the group of kids is supposed to be like telling him where to go, and it's a trust exercise. But of course, everyone is just, being stupid, as you do. And mostly this one guy named Johnson, who I really hated, and also, like, why is his name Johnson?
It's a cool name.
No.
Full name's Johnson.
I bet his last name's Dick.
So then...
Johnson Dick.
Johnson Dick Jr.
His full last name is Johnson Dick.
Yeah.
It's one word.
Johnson Dick.
My new alias. I'm gonna order pizza exclusively under the name of Johnson Dick.
Please do. So, some of the group are basically sort of like talking about why they're in juvie, and one of them just like casually says that he's in juvie because he hacked the Pentagon. And I have to just say up front that I understand that these people are supposed to be minors, but the crimes they committed to end up in the same group do not really seem like level at all.
Yeah, I think if you hack the Pentagon as a child, they don't just send you out into the woods with like 5 other teens. Like, all right, well, just don't do it again.
Yeah, we don't find out. We'll get there to what some of the other people did. We don't find out what everybody did. Oh, one of the girls whose name is Lola, basically, she says that she's in for solicitation. So, like, solicitation, quote unquote, and hacking the Pentagon don't really seem to be that level as far as punishment. But, whatever, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes
so
you just
like
accidentally
talking or whatever.
hack the Pentagon.
I accidentally Googled it, and there I was hacking the Pentagon.
He said he started by, like, hacking into his school's system so he could, like, change people's grades for money. And then the other guy was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then he was like, oh, but also I hacked the Pentagon. And I was like, maybe you should have led with that situation.
The school ones that got him in trouble.
Yeah, it gets way worse.
The Pentagon doesn't care.
No, they're like, well, it's fine.
We're used to it.
Porky... Oof. Facebook sure is, right? Porky, like, has somehow wandered out so far into the woods that he is completely lost. And he immediately eats a candy bar very fast. And it's, like, zoomed up on him eating a candy bar, which I felt was unnecessary. The counselor guy is like, okay, let's go in after him. He's lost, haha. And he's gone for a little bit, and then immediately, or not, well, I said a little bit and immediately. Those are not the same thing.
A little immediately. Just a tad.
He comes running out of the woods being chased by the pterodactyl birds. And he's like, run, run. We see somebody get attacked by a creature. We do see a close-up of a rubber claw, like, snapping some guy's neck. Pretty cool. And then, okay, this guy, Garrett, is actually a park ranger. I was calling him a sheriff for a while because I wasn't really sure. He's like a gameman. What's the term? He's like a sheriff
I
sheriff
feel
for the
like
Like
woods,
game
you know?
warden.
Yeah, all of these.
Yeah.
Anytime
A
that
game warden.
it's always like it's like a park ranger or something, or it's like way out of their jurisdiction with the stuff they do in these movies.
He does, but he also seems to like actually know a lot about animals and stuff. So, anyways, he's the woods sheriff, and he ends up finding the hunter that got, bitch slapped by the pterodactyl, and he is going to take him to the hospital. Meanwhile, I would say, so this whole group of people was kind of hard to keep track of. The main character, if I were to say there was one, is named Ava, and she's kind of like the only one that sort of has like a moral compass, if you're going to call it that. And she's also the one that like does all the communicating with Garrett later. So she's like the main character. Then there's Lola, there's Johnson, there's Derek, Porky, Gordon. Gordon, I think, is hip hop. They call him hip hop, right?
Yeah, there's
Sure.
entirely too many characters in this group.
I agree.
With
and not enough
awful
of them
names.
die.
All I
And then
remember,
I
Hank.
really thought
there-
you were going to call him Gorky after Porky. I was like, oh yeah, Porky and Gorky, duh.
Gorky and Porky.
I remember
yeah.
Gorky.
I just know there was one of them
So-
that was like a Z grade Topanga from Boy Meets World.
I assume that you mean Ava, I guess. I don't know.
Hip hop.
Probably hip hop, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Are you sure you don't mean Hank?
Yeah.
His name is
Gorky.
Hank. Gorky. Okay, so Ava finds Porky, who I think has been attacked. And then they basically, like, the whole group like scatters once the pterodactyls come, and they show shots of them like running through the woods, and then they all basically meet back up, and hip hop starts rapping for no reason, as he does many times in this movie. Johnson and Derek, who have beef this entire movie, show up. Everyone's there. They start smoking cigarettes and checking the dead counselor's backpack for a map. They find the map and then argue about how to read a map for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty stupid,
reading maps is pretty difficult.
I guess. They were like, "Whoa, is that blue on the road?" And Ava was like, no, it's the fucking river, water, blue."
Yeah, a
Anyway.
sea road. What is a river but a sea road?
That's true. So meanwhile, back at the hospital, Garrett, the guy, her name is Dr. Hale. I just call her Doctor. Meets up with the doctor, and it's like very clear that they know each other and they dated in the past, and their conversations are all very awkward. But basically, she's like in the process of stitching up the hunter's neck, and it's looking nasty a little. Also, they used like really thick thread for the stitches, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not how you stitch up a neck, but what do I know? I'm not a professional.
Did you see the two trivia things about, like, that was blatantly written by like a nurse or a doctor, because it was like the sutures they use are too far apart. This person would easily get infected and have some sort of blood infection and blah blah blah.
Well, they do have a blood infection. It's called the bird flu. Jeez,
Yeah,
idiot.
Idiot. You moron.
He also has like weird gross vein makeup coming out of his neck. Like he looked pretty nasty, like he looked nasty. And so the Garrett and the doctor are sort of talking, trying to figure out like what attacked him. Also, he's got a fever at this point, and the doctor like pulls something out of his wound, which I think was supposed to be like a claw, because later the Garrett is looking at it in a microscope and is like, it's from a reptile, and I was like, what are they talking about? And now I just put it together that it was probably a claw from when he got punched. Oh god. So we switched back to the group. We basically switched between the kids, the doctor, and then this other FBI guy that comes back later. So that's all who we're working with. So we switched back to the woods where Johnson pulls a flare gun on Derek because he wants him to like break into this tunnel situation that has been like boarded out and it says like keep out or whatever, and they're like scared to go in, so he like threatens Derek, and Derek like goes in there and is like, I'm alive, come on in. So they do. Porky is really not looking good at this point, and he's also crying a lot. Derek ends up there's just like so much back and forth between all these people, and it's tiring, honestly. Derek like steals the flare. Okay, this part was actually very funny. Derek steals the flare gun back, from Johnson, and is like, who's the bitch now, guy? And Johnson's like, come on, just shoot me. And he's like, what? I will shoot you. And they're just like going back and forth or whatever. And then Derek accidentally shoots a flare off into a tunnel and sets one of the guys on fire.
So good.
Like, okay.
Deserved it, in my opinion.
I mean, Hank, his name was Hank, and he didn't do anything, but I agree. It was pretty funny.
The only good Hank is Hank Hill.
That's honestly, yes. So they shoot this guy, and he's on fire, and somehow he gets he, like, extinguishes himself pretty fast. Well, he's dead, of course. And then they go over to, like, check it out, and they realize that there's just, like, boxes of dynamite all around the tunnel, which seems, like, dangerous to just, like, leave a bunch of dynamite a tunnel that is condemned now. Unless you get lucky and people don't know how to turn on dynamite like me, then you're fine. So then there's like a door that they try to come out of, because they're like, we can't leave out the front of the tunnel because the birds are there. So let's try and like find another way out. They open this door that has like gas coming out of it for some reason. They're like, that's not good. And then they're like, okay, well, we have to like go out the front. So Ava checks the entrance, and it looks like there's no birds there, but then a bird like lunges at her and jump scares her. And anytime we see like a close-up of the pterodactyls, it's always just this like rubber costume looking thing, and it's like extremely goofy but like kind of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The bird costumes are again
A+. I want one
incredible
to wear around my home.
I mean, me too.
picture.
Like I would be a flu bird for Halloween if I could,
And Christmas, Valentine's Day, the Ides of March.
Why not? Yes, of course. Specifically the Ides of March.
Take that, Caesar, you fuck.
Yeah, fuck you.
Get flu-birded.
So, meanwhile, Garrett and the doctor are bickering again, and they basically test the hunter's blood and find out that it is H5N1 variant, which means it is a variant of the bird flu. I almost said flu bird. They say a bunch of medical stuff. I don't know. It was like one of those situations where they're like, try 50 CTs of fluoroephyline or whatever, and also say that they need to quarantine him. And they talk about like the bird flu and basically how there's like no cases of bird flu in the U.S. And I have to say that like they don't seem very concerned. I would immediately be panicking and screaming and things like that, but they're just kind of like, well, weird, right? That's weird. So,
I wonder if it's maybe because since it's like bloodborne or whatever. Like, well, it's much less likely to happen. Not just gonna have people running around bleeding all over each other, or people bleeding on birds. They would be
wrong, wouldn't they? They would be wrong.
They never have seen flu bird horror.
That's right. So Garrett says this is where I assume that he was looking at the claw of the flu bird, because he says that it is whatever the word is that means that it is reptilian, but it was like a cooler word. It was like Sicilian or something like that. um, he was saying, yeah, he's basically just saying like, whatever happened, it was something kind of like scaly and reptilian, so that's strange. Um, at this point, Porky is looking really bad, and he's crying a lot more. And they're basically saying that he should sacrifice himself, be a decoy, run out so all the birds can attack him, and like let everyone else escape. And he's like not about it. He's like, I don't prefer that. But they're just gonna like vote, and they vote to sacrifice him.
Fucked up.
It's pretty fucked up. Of course, Ava is like, no, he can win, and she votes to like not. Well, it was kind of confusing because they did thumbs down to sacrifice him and thumbs up not to. So I was confused, but they decided to sacrifice him. And yeah. So meanwhile, Ava has found a walkie-talkie in like the backpack or whatever, and he gets on. This is like, she gets on the walkie-talkie and is like, "Help, help!" And Garrett's like, "Excuse me, this line is for emergencies only. What's going on?" I was like, I assume that maybe that's something they have to say, but just the way that he was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, this is for emergencies." What are you doing though? You know, it was just like really funny.
After screaming, "Help! Help! Help!"
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is emergencies only.
What are you up to though? What are you doing? You
what,
up?
What are you doing? How's your weekend?
Do you want to get a pizza later? Or so Ava, yeah. So she calls and she's basically just like, we need help. There's creatures. I don't know. And then of course, as soon as she's like, we're at the old mine, it like breaks up so that he can't actually hear where they are. Meanwhile, Derek has found some tools like pickaxes and stuff, and they push Porky out into the opening, and the birds swarm on him. Everyone runs. Ava, of course, turns back to watch him get eaten, while going, "No, Porky, no!" But then she's just like staring there, watching him get like torn apart by birds. So I'm not really sure, like, what that was supposed to do. Also, Derek gets bitten by a flu bird, and of course decides that he's just going to keep it secret.
Yeah, there's always one.
Oh my god, this part made me want to die. So back at the hospital, they're like basically have pumped the hunter full of any kind of antibiotic that they could think of to try and like help him, and it is just not working. And then the camera like, huh?
Ivermectin.
Yeah, just give him the horse paste.
Yeah.
Yes. They did.
Just
I don't think they
slathered
tried
in
that,
horse
honestly.
paste.
Yeah. Could have saved him from it. But the camera like zooms in on his face, and he coughs up blood, and the blood splatters the screen, and then turns into like spores and stuff. And I like felt like I was sick at that point. I was like, ooh, I hated it so much.
That's how you get the bird flu.
By watching this.
Yeah. He spits the blood at the camera. It goes to the
Rude.
screen.
That's just like how in The Ring, where you're not supposed to watch the cursed tape, and then they show you the cursed tape, and I'm like, girl, you're not supposed to be watching it, you know? Yeah. There's like a couple back and forth scenes with this guy, but eventually he just dies. He doesn't mutate or anything. Like, he's got boils on his face, and he's like kind of gross, but nothing else comes of it. He just dies. The doctor talks about how she's like talking to Garrett about how the bird flu happened, and they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe it was terrorists, you know. And that's when the FBI shows up to quarantine the entire hospital. The doctor and Garrett have already walked out, and then the FBI guy is just like, okay, well, we're quarantined this, nobody in, nobody out. And I'm like, Garrett and the doctor walked out of the hospital, and it's quarantined. I don't know. Everything about this quarantine situation just does not seem legit at all, because he's just like standing there talking to them. She's like, it's fine, I'm a doctor. And he's like, all right, fine. So basically, the doctor is like, no, like, it's not airborne. You need to evacuate everyone that's in there, because otherwise, like, you're just like locking them in with the person that's sick. And the FBI guy is like, no. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to go try and find these kids out in the woods for whatever reason. And the FBI guy's like, okay, see ya. Oh, also hurry, because we're gonna like nuke the forest essentially.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah. So then back in the woods, the kids are trying to figure out how to get to town, and one of them is like, okay, well, let's try and figure this out. Which way is the sun moving? And Derek goes, I don't know. It's too bright to look at.
I mean, fair.
Okay, Derek. So, oh man. So, in the hospital, I guess the virus does go airborne. And like one of the other doctors is like sick or whatever, and she calls like the main character, Dr. Hale, and is essentially just like, hey, so I know we're quarantined and this is like bad, it's the bird flu, but I can't do this. And she's like, girl, you have to. Like, you're the doctor there. And she's like, no, I have a family and stuff. Like, I don't want to do this. But then she coughs up blood, so it's already too late, right?
I don't even want to be around anymore.
Like, she's like, I can't do this. I have a husband and a child. And I'm like, all right, well, you are already sick, so I don't really know what you want her to do about it. She hangs up on the doctor and then in a very weird scene walks outside, and the security guard is like, ma'am, like, you can't leave. I have orders to like shoot to kill. And she's just like, I'm a doctor. I'm fine. Trust me. I'm a doctor. Like, she literally says that. And then the guy's like, please don't. And then, like, after a very long back and forth, he ends up shooting her and she's dead. It was really strange.
It's so awkward. Like, she's walking away and he's not even facing her. And she takes that, like, pause before it's like, all right, I'm going to confidently step forward. And she does, and he just whips around like, caca.
He's like,
got her
please,
ass.
Halt, ma'am, halt, please, halt. Ma'am, stop. Ma'am. And then shoots her, and then it, like, zooms up on him, like, looking off to the side in dismay. I was like, all right.
I legitimately don't even remember there being a doctor in this movie.
There's two doctors. You don't remember the other, like, the main character doctor?
No, I remember the kids, like, just spending
To
the
be fair,
entire time trying to sacrifice each other, and that's it.
Nathan only remembers birds and what he hates.
Yes.
Right. Well, to be fair, she didn't do anything except for pretend to be a love interest for Garrett, and that doesn't even... Anyways. So, meanwhile, Johnson and Lola are making out in the woods, but a bird is watching them.
It seems like like the perfect time for a makeout session.
Well, he was essentially just like, well, we're going to die anyway, so let's do it. And she's like, yeah. And then the bird's like, fuck yeah. And then they're like, oh my God. And then they run.
I wish that's how it went.
Garrett and the doctor finally find the tunnel, and all they find left of Porky is his leg. And then Garrett calls Ava on the walkie, and I was like, where are you guys? And she literally says, trees. trees. And he's like, And then the walkie's cut out again. The kids find an abandoned house. There's also just like half of a guy laying on the ground that Nathan thought was a bird holding a gun.
Still stand by it. I think it's a bird.
And Johnson takes a shotgun. They go inside the house. Derek is stoked about Frosted Flakes.
Who isn't?
The little things, I guess.
It's ultimate cereal.
I feel like
Sorry,
they would
Cinnamon
have
Toast Crunch.
had to pay royalties or something, because he goes, they're great, and he's like throwing the cereal everywhere. And I was like, isn't that trademark information?
I was very surprised to see him walk out with the thing of Frosted Flakes and show it to the camera. I was like,
and like throw it in the air and shit. And I was like,
yeah, can you do this?
Unless they got paid. The product that's the product placement that paid for the $40 it took to make this movie.
Frosted Flakes was like, no one's gonna see this. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Meanwhile, there's like a SWAT and hazmat people like walking through the forest. They're shooting at the birds. They are not very good at it. because they miss every single time, and a bunch of them get attacked and killed. And the FBI guy's on the walkie, like, shooter. Hello? Who is anyone there? No, everyone's dead, guy. Oh, this is a part where like somebody gets their eyeball like bit out, and it looked pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like here for that. Then the FBI guy and Garrett kind of like talk about her bird habits and stuff, and then Garrett and the doctor. Oh, it's like nighttime, and she's like, okay, why don't we take a break and go back to my place? And he's like, no, I promised those kids I would save them. And then she like puts her hand on his cheek, and he's like, okay. And then the scene just ends, and that like nothing else ever happens with that or their relationship. So I was like, okay, maybe it got cut in post, I guess. At the cabin, Derek is, he got bit earlier. He's like freaking out at this point, and he's like pouring what I assume is rubbing alcohol on his infection and like screaming and shit. And then when Johnson comes to like check on him, Derek just pretends that he was like taking a big dump and, not infected with the bird flu. So next morning, Johnson has realized that Derek is infected because he's like bleeding through his shirt, and he's like threatening him with the gun. But then suddenly a pterodactyl bird like bursts in through the window and is like, rah, and they're like shooting at it, and they kill it. And then they're arguing about like if they're gonna kick Derek out into the
bird world
outside, and use him as a decoy like they did with Porky. And Derek's like, no, thank you. So Derek and Johnson get in a fight where Derek, I don't know, coughs, I guess, and just like spits blood all over Johnson's face. And Johnson just for some reason like rubs it all over his face, and also is like spitting it out of his mouth, and it was pretty gross. This is when we get introduced to the helicopter pilot that I called the soldier, and he is talking to the FBI guy about like how much ammo he's loading into his car, and he says, that's a hell of a lot of Wheelie Pete. And I was like, I'm sorry, come again?
Makes sense to me.
Everything he says is like insane. I don't know, man. So back at the cabin, they're like trying to board up the window again. And this is where we find out why Ava is in juvie, casual. And it's because she burnt down her house while her dad was inside. So she murdered somebody.
I'm sure he had it coming.
And I think he did. They allude to abuse, which, it's fine. But, like, we've got, again, tacked into the Pentagon, murder. Like, I don't know. Just doesn't seem like they're all there on the same level. But
one kid was just, like, cheating off of a classmate's test.
I mean, high crime.
Yeah.
Still
I don't even know why.
From Walmart.
Yeah, right. I don't even know like why she revealed that to Lola, but she did. And then Lola's like, "Hey, I found batteries." So Ava is able to call Garrett back and call for help. He calls the FBI guy and is like, "Okay, we know where the kids are. They're in this cabin." And the FBI guy is like, "Well, you should tell them to leave because we're about to do an airstrike there." And he's like, "Oh no."
Oh.
The kids like go outside to get some like meat that the hunter has hanging in his shed, and they're going to use it to like distract the birds. It doesn't really work though, and this is the point where we see like Ava I think it might be the girls in hip hop maybe, like run into the shed and shut the door, and this is where we see like an almost full person in a bird suit. Pretty great.
Wants that shed meat.
What?
Wants that shed meat.
I mean, who wouldn't want some shed meat?
Yeah. I could go for some shed meat right now.
Some warm shed meat.
Yeah, I've been sitting in the sun all day. Got that
That just
woody shed taste to it.
dusty, musty shed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
some
cut.
cobwebs
I'm cutting out
flavoring.
everything else of this podcast except just this part. It was just a 45-second episode about shed meat.
You know what? It's probably fine. If someone doesn't change their handle to shed meat, I'm gonna be really disappointed. Derek then decides that sure, yeah, he is gonna sacrifice himself for whatever reason. And basically he does, and they all run into the woods. Ava does the same thing she did before, where she was like, Derek, no! And she just like stands there as he's already getting ripped apart. It's just so stupid. So they're back into the woods. Garrett and the doctor and the kids finally all meet up. Ava and Garrett hug, which I was like, that's kind of weird. Okay though. And they all get into the truck, and basically they're gonna try to drive out of the blast zone. And Ava's like, "Oh, yeah, that's probably fine, right?" And Garrett's like, "Yeah, it's pretty close," but the look on his face is like, "No, it's probably not gonna work." But a pterodactyl comes and like catches up with them. It's like attacking their car, and they're like shooting at it, you know, and shit like that. Eventually, the doctor's like, "Garrett, stomp!" And Garrett swerves to miss the stump, but flips the car. Everyone's fine, of course. They get out of the car and they just like run back into the woods. So meanwhile, the FBI guy and the pilot have found the like house or whatever that they were in, and the soldiers guy's like, "Are you sure there's no one down there?" And the FBI guy's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. It's out there." And he's like, "'Cause if we drop this bomb on them, they're gonna die." And the FBI guy's like, "No, it's chill. Don't worry about it." And then Garrett's like, "Hey, we're down here," and the pilot's like, "Hey, who's that?" The scene was just like so wacky. And he's like, "There's people down there." And then the FBI guy's like, "What are you guys doing down? Like, get out of here." And they're like, "Okay, but like we need some time or whatever." And then a pterodactyl swoops in and comes and like bites the soldier's arm, and then the helicopter just crashes and explodes.
Damn.
It explodes. I don't think there was actually an explosion. It was just like the sound of an explosion too. So that was great. So somehow the whole group has made it back into the tunnel from the very beginning, and the gas leak that they just decided to like board up the tunnel because of is like worse, to the point where they can't stand there, they will die. So they decide that they're going to try to lure the birds into the tunnel using somebody as bait, and then use all the dynamite to like blow them up or whatever. And Johnson, for some reason, Ava's like, "I'll do it," and then Johnson's like, "No, it should be me," and he like volunteers to do it essentially. And the doctor is like, "Oh no, like with immediate treatment, you'll probably be fine." And I'm like, "Lady, it's been at least an hour at this point. Like, he's not getting immediate treatment, you know?"
That's what she meant by immediate, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I guess. So, but he's like, "No, it's cool. Like, I'll do it," or whatever. And Lola is just like, "Thanks, boo." And like, they all leave. Like, literally, she says, "Thanks, boo." So that's how you know this is from 2008. And they all run away. They all basically like run out the other side of the tunnel as the birds start like breaking in the entrance, and Johnson's just like, "Come on, you dumb birds. Boop, boop, beepity bop." And they're like, "No, I hate scatting." So they're like fighting and stuff. And they all get out the back of the tunnel right as Johnson shoots the dynamite, and the entire tunnel explodes. Then we find out that the reason hip hop is in juvie was just for shoplifting. Again, with a murderer and somebody who, hacked the Pentagon.
Became the Pentagon.
Yes, and that is like literally the end of the movie. So it's fine. The 5 remaining flu birds are dead. I just feel like, why were they pterodactyls? There was no
The flu?
backstory as to why they happened.
Yeah, you ever had the flu? You turn into a pterodactyl.
Yeah. If you get the flu and
Well,
you touch a bird, that's what happens.
well, luckily I'm not really around birds that much, so I guess I've just been lucky.
I mean, ducks are birds. I feel like you saw a lot of ducks in California.
Mm, we do have these like weird chicken
Pterodactyls.
duck things here that they
Chucks?
kind of do look like pterodactyl. Yeah, the chunks, duckins.
Yeah, everybody should go watch this movie. Solely for the times you see the birds just swarming people in glorious CGI. Just looking the worst.
It's like if you like sci-fi movies, this is definitely just worth a go.
If you like
know,
movies,
it has like
watch
a
this.
very heavy sci-fi. No, well,
If you like birds, check this out.
Big fan of the movie Casino. Probably like Fluebird horror.
probably.
If you like topical films about a horrible pandemic,
Yeah, it's a good time to
That
watch
doesn't
this.
actually get like. I don't know. Like, do we? If the hunter in the hospital and the doctor were the only people that were infected, they're both dead. All of the people who got it are dead, and the birds are dead. So there's like
it's like
no
a mini
imminent
pandemic.
danger. Yeah,
But
handful of people.
what if somebody shows up in those woods and eats like Porky's dead body for some reason?
They probably would get it.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what happens.
They smoke it.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy would make some good shed meat.
Oh, that's a good point.
Doesn't one of the girls call one of the other girls like a doobie queen or something? I might have made that up. I think
I hope you
something
made
like
that up.
happened.
All right, news.
I did not have a single
Good.
moment to look up any news.
There's no good news.
No.
All right, what do you guys watch this week?
Movies,
Yeah, not me.
television.
I did watch some of that.
Let's see, what did I did Paganini Horror.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's
No, that's
It's
fine.
decent.
I want more of the cool knife violin.
yes.
Carrie, apparently I had never seen all of before.
Oh.
Motel Hell.
Now you gotta watch the Carrie remake.
Ugh, no, I'm good.
I don't think I've seen the remake.
I don't
actually.
think it's as bad as everybody.
I'm
Made
sure
out
it's
to be,
totally
but-
fine and forgettable, but
There's
there's
a pretty sick death scene in it that I remember. But like, I mean, it's like Julianne Moore and Chloe Grace Moretz are very good at it, I think.
Yeah, I think now that there's been some more distance from it, I think it will be like, this is fine.
I'm just gonna let everybody be quiet for a minute.
that's just the end of the
Yeah.
episode.
What
I was like,
and over.
what else, Kit?
Train to Busan, fucking rules.
Yeah, movie's great.
And then Blood-Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh.
Hell yeah. The movie,
Amazing.
The movie rules. It's so stupid.
I was not expecting it to just be like mostly a comedy movie, and I was cackling throughout. It was very stupid.
And like the one thing with like the fucking vacuum cleaner death or whatever, or like
Yeah. He goes and he vacuums up the fucking dog.
yeah, it's so weird. What about you, Katie?
Almost nothing. I watched anthology called Dead Time Stories. That was like from 1986. It was okay. It wasn't great. I finally got to see Sea Fever, um, which is like pretty enjoyable. Um, and then I only watched half of Midnight Mass, so we can't talk about it yet. I didn't realize the episodes were like 12 hours long, so I tried to watch it all yesterday, and I only got like halfway. And I think that's literally it.
Yeah, I've been watching Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes animated series pretty much all week. But I finally watched WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, which were all very good.
Nice.
The only movie I watched was Malignant, which I hated. Minus
Wow.
how stupid the walking looks and fight scenes look.
It's amazing.
Once the
It's
reveal
best.
happened, that part I was like, okay, I'm good, I'm fine with this, but I hate like, everything else. I just don't like James Wan movies. The first, I don't know, hour that it takes to get to the reveal is pretty unbearable, I thought. But whatever, everybody liked their shit. I also watched an Amityville movie that, spoiler, not good.
Shock.
All right, shout outs. Katie, you go first.
Yeah, I
It
got
sounded like
nothing.
you had something ready to go.
Wow.
I'm gonna shout out watching the Undertaker New Day movie on Netflix when we're done. That I'm going to assume is very good. And that it's like a choose your own adventure, so I'm gonna watch it like 20 times.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'm
Wow.
gonna corrupt Kofi Kingston. Turn to the dark side. Alright, now it's your turn, Katie.
I
Just say
how about
thrice-
lamb
thrice
children
slaps
with
again.
human hands? It does slap.
Slappy thrice.
Yeah.
Thrice be slapping.
You got anything, Kit?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna say Midnight Mass because it fucking ruled. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm looking forward to finishing it. Honestly, I feel like for me, it could go like I know Nathan did not like it, and
I
you
have not
liked it a
watched
lot.
it.
So I thought you said that. Oh, maybe you just were making a joke. I thought you
I
said
don't even
something.
know if I've even referenced it.
Oh man, who was
I had to
it
watch
then?
Hill House now.
I haven't watched
So.
I don't think I've seen
I-
a single thing Mike Flanagan has done.
I thought that you said Midnight Mass, more like Midnight Ass.
I posted a review that I came across on Letterboxd that said that. That wasn't me, though.
Oh,
I just thought the review was funny.
Okay, I thought it was you. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I've already I guess my shout out could be Haunting of Hill House, but I've probably shouted it out multiple
I mean, I
times.
said knowledge
I
fight
absolutely-
for like 40 episodes in a row. I think you're fine.
Okay. Haunting of Hill House, I absolutely love. Not to overstate it, but it's like one of my favorite TV anything ever. I loved it so much, and I thought it was great. I haven't rewatched it because I'm kind of worried that it won't hold up because it's been a couple of years since it came out at this point. But yeah, so I would shout that out. And I also really liked Haunting of Bly Manor. It's completely different, obviously, because it's also a different story, but it's like different in a good way. And he's kind of doing that thing where he keeps reusing some of the same characters because there's a lot of the same characters in Midnight Mass that there is in both Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. So I really like that. And yeah, so I'm just excited to finish it. But yeah, definitely watch Haunting of Hill House. It's so good.
They all just seem like things that I'm going to be like bored by. And I'm not, I just can't, like, a movie where I'm just like, this looks bad. I could waste an hour is different from then like 12 hours of my time. So I've just like never
Yeah,
dug
I
into
feel
them.
like Haunting of Hill House, I feel like, is a lot more like a lot of stuff happens. Like, of course, it's still like a haunted house situation, which I know is like not super your thing. So I don't know. I feel like Bly Manor was a lot slower, and I feel like Midnight Mass is like even slower. So I don't know. I think it depends on like your mood when you're watching it,
Yeah.
because like once the stuff starts, once the reveal, I luckily didn't. I luckily didn't know anything about what Midnight Mass was about, and so like once the reveal happens, I was like, oh, okay, sure. And some of the stuff that happens, I was like, oh my wow. So I don't know. I don't know that it seems like something you would care too much about, but
Is the reveal that the person has a teratoma of a person in their skull?
Yes, and that person's a flu bird.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a flu bird. Yes.
All right. Katie, did you pick a movie for next week?
I forgot.
All right. Then let's see what we got.
Ka. Birdemic.
Where's my fucking watch list at? All right, Night of the Living
Why do
Dicks.
I-
It is.
No. No Johnson Dick.
A movie. That's a short movie. It's not out yet. I got it on my watch list, so if it ever pops up on something for free, I can get a notification.
I wonder what's on my watch list. Let's see. Let's look at my tubers.
Go watch Puppet Monster Massacre. I'm so mad Replicator's not on anything.
Replicator.
Yeah.
I'll pick something. It'll be a surprise.
All right. Katie's picking Beverly Hills Body Snatchers.
How about Microwave Massacre?
No, the movie's terrible.
How about
Microwave Massacre 2.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Monstered. We're doing Monstered.
Oh man, I
Could
totally
do
forgot about Monstered.
There's a new Amazon original movie called Bingo Hell.
I've seen a lot of
Bingo
people
or
like
Dingo?
raving about it.
Bingo.
Like
Richard Brake.
Bingo, I won.
Oh, not Bongo.
It's bound to be incredible.
Does it actually take place in like a bingo hall?
Oh yeah.
We'll see. That's what I thought.
Oh.
Bolorama.
I feel like I've
How
seen
about
a.
Vamp
I think
Bikers?
I feel like I've seen a lot of people on like Instagram and stuff talk about Bingo Hell being really good, but it's got terrible ratings on Letterboxd.
I've
never
refused to
heard of
believe it's
it.
good. But that name and Richard Brake.
Oh, of course, it's a Blumhouse.
No, sir.
I don't know. We'll figure something out. Next week's a surprise.
It'll be a surprise.
Probably something,
Yeah.
something good. Like
Definitely something good.
just do Fluebird horror again.
We'll watch Fear.com.
.com. We're gonna go to fear.com.com.
We'll watch Tubi exclusive Lazarus.
Oh boy. I don't know what that is. Alright, so you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Go listen to our John Carpenter episode where Katie watched
Yeah.
The Thing for the first time.
I sure did.
And In the Mouth of Madness for like the 5th time probably.
Maybe more than that.
Get merch at our Storefront tier and Teespring shops. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. Go to some other podcast named Kate Movie Club. Go to fear.com.com. See what happens. Probably nothing good.
Fear.com.fear.com.
.gov.
So,
Hack the
I was gonna
Pentagon.
say hack the Pentagon. All right. I hope you Johnson, but Johnson Dick.
I was gonna say shed, but meat.
Ugh.
Shed your
I'm
meat.
gonna go eat some shed meat.
Ew.